seminar. And these sessions were creating really a miraculous good effects in my personal and professional behaviors. So I immediately registered for this program. But as it's always, there were a lot of doubts. What different I am going to learn from this? And as the course started, and I got really a different perspective of doing online trainings. The first one was cognitive science. That was a miraculous finding thing for me. Oh, such thing works on online platform. The effect of languaging, whether that works, and I was getting that and seeing that effect on me. As Arun sir always implement first what he is teaching us, and he used to give that examples. See what I have done last time, and what impact that created. And that actually started creating more curiosity to learn about this program, and that made me to stick to this program till end. And see, I always believed one thing, that every course or every workshop has a three stage where actually one can get the benefit of that program. One is classroom learning, where we get the knowledge. Second is the revision, or what we learn, what we try to implement, what we try to revise from that learning, and we try to embed it in our mind. And third thing is how we are going to make it into action. And this program contains all of that three parts. We get the best classroom learning from Arun sir, what I was getting that. Then there were revision sessions. Arun sir had made and such great leaders in our course itself, from the course itself, that if we were not present to the revisions, they used to catch us and bring back to the revision. And we started preparing for the revisions. And these revision sessions started giving us whatever we have missed in the classroom sessions. So we started revising on that points. They gave us a lot of new points, because each person was taking this revision in their own way, what they understood from this program. And that started giving us a new perspective about the same learnings. And the third part was the action. And now we are seeing that every participant is presenting on this platform, and that is the action part. And that was a great motivator for me. Last week I had my session, and I saw myself. Well, means everybody gave a good feedback, but I found myself elevated what I was doing previous to this course, and that actually gave me more confidence and about now doing online presentations at different levels. And now see how this program has helped. I was just thinking locally, giving the presentations in the local companies or some groups, but this program has opened my complete mind to take my financial planning program and globally. So this is how we our mind and is changing the whole group's mind, those who are the participants and in this program, from local to global. So what I learned, the best part was the transitioning. I found that I am not doing it rightly, and that's where my program might have got affected, because after finishing one part, if the transition is not done to the other correctly, then participants get distracted, and that's where we could not end up our program with the same impact as we were thinking to give. So that's what I learned. And the transition slicing, cognitive science, how the script writing, because script writing, I found after this program, is again a major thing in any presentation, and without that, the impact won't be there. So my dear friends, and the program which gives a classroom learning, a revision sessions, and action and oriented practice sessions, and that is what I have found in this one. and master diploma, the master trainer course. So I hereby would like to be in gratitude to Arun sir, Vaidishwaran sir, who is master in the voice modulation, the preparing the presentations and effectively. eh, Plus, he also gave us the right way to keep our voice clear. The exercises what he has taught is helping me in other parts also. Previously, you will find that one change, others also, that in the initial program which I had done 6 months back in the other platform, I used to say many times. There was many times that was coming, and I am finding that difference, that now it has been more clear speech what I am giving. These are the small impacts what I have got from this program. Thank you so much, Arun sir, Vaidishwaran sir, Nitika ma'am, who was the team leader for our team, all the teammates, Suma madam, and Atul sir, who are the teammates in the total revision sessions, and all my teammates who has helped me a lot in improving in last 6 months. And thank you so much. And it's the one program who want to excel in life, who want to do a great impact through online sessions. This is one of the best stage for all of them, and to be in and get the maximum out of it and implement in our life. Thank you so much, Sujata ma'am.
So much. Now, for the evening, coming up is the signature presentation, and this is brought forth to us by one of our coveted members, eminent and a very active, proactive member of DDMT, Mr. Rajendra Sapre, whose mind is always mapping ideas and concepts and getting things across in a very, very comprehensive manner. So let us understand what today he has in store, what is the mind mapping that he's going to create. Let us watch out. But before that, let me introduce him because he's got a wonderful credential that we need to acknowledge. He is an alumnus of IIT Mumbai, India's iconic institution, and he has worked with many first of its kind products and solutions. The bleeding edge technologies is his strength. And he always believes that rounded development of team members is always essential. And he designed and conducted technology trainings, as well as backed the corporate Toastmasters Club. I think this is one of the prestigious clubs of any corporate establishment. Now, 5 years ago, his startup journey started. He's working on the Internet of Things for industrial and healthcare applications. I'm sure this is the need of the hour. Now he's entered his foray to the corporate trainings, focusing on the Industry 4.0 technology that comprises IoT, artificial intelligence, and machine learning technologies. And ever since this pandemic has really rooted the world, he has been keen on taking to online and its art of steering. And hence, he's now here amongst us as a member of the DDMT program. Now, I wish to share that IoT, what he's going to share with us, Internet of Things. I have a different elaboration to this. It is interest over technology that we are going to be a part of your program today evening. Rajendra, we vouch that. Thank you so much. The stage is yours. Over to you, Rajendra.
Thank you, Sujata ma'am. Good evening, everyone. Today, I remember the year 1992 and the month, it was July 1992. It was my first few months on my first job after my MTech from IIT Bombay, and I was trying to adjust with the needs, the exact needs of the corporate, and that was a point which was actually not helping me as to how do I really succeed in this corporate world. Okay, despite all the educational background. Now at that point, I met my mentor, Mr. Gokhale, and asked him and shared with him my problem, that how will I succeed in the corporate world. He thought for a while, and then he told me that, okay, any boss, whether he's your manager or your leader or whosoever in the organization, has exactly 3 requirements or 3 needs from you. Which are these 3 needs? The first one is do it yourself. The second one is keep me informed. And the third one is help me grow. Now, at that same time, I believe there was a technologist somewhere secretly hearing our conversation, because he was the person around the same time frame converted that advice into the technology niche called the Internet of Things. Why? Because Internet of Things does exactly these 3 things for us. It does most of its work silently and without our intervention. It does it itself for us. Secondly, it keeps us informed whenever there is a difficulty or something it cannot handle. And the third thing is, whether whosoever you are, whether an entrepreneur or whether you are a giant company, this particular technology is going to definitely help you grow. So let's see how in today's presentation. So the first question is that even if everybody knows what is IoT, let us actually see its formal definition. So the first thing is that we have the real world actually, and in the real world there are many assets. Sometimes these assets could be something like a plant and machinery, or it could be your own home. It could be the any kind of plants at your home, or many times the most important asset, it is you yourself, okay, or your other valued things like your car, or coming down to the green environment, okay, the things like solar panels or the windmills. All of these could be thought of as assets, and in the parlance of the IoT, whenever such an asset is fitted with an appropriate sensors and actuators, it could be called as a thing, as in the IoT or Internet of Things. Now, this particular because of these sensors, lot of data in real time gets generated, and what do we do with that data? Now, one thing is that there will be some small amount of electronics right in the sensors, as in smart sensors, and there can be some local action taken even by those sensors. But beyond that, there is a time when the data needs to be provided to the larger entities in the system. So for that, there is something called as an IoT gateway. Now, this gateway is sometimes a specialty hardware. In sometimes it could be even your own mobile phone, which can act as a vehicle between the sensors and the more important, the backend of the IoT, what is called as the IoT servers. Now, internet becomes a vehicle because internet is actually available across the globe wherever you go, and that is why it could link physically, the things which are present globally anywhere to our central entity called as the IoT server. Now, this IoT server is something which is actually keeping on processing the incoming data from various assets, which are these, the things in the real world. It is actually churning that data, and then what it would do is it would generate insights in a continuous manner. And these insights many times could lead to certain actions, and those actions can be fed back into the real world directly using the same the same internet link and the same gateways over here. And that is why there are bidirectional arrows. Whenever the situation comes in that these particular, there are such anomalies or found in the data that they cannot be handled. So that is the time when this particular server will communicate the data to the users. Now, these users could be sometimes the operators, sometimes they could be managers who are actually responsible for the economic viability of the project, or they're responsible for at a different level. So and they could be even R&D people who will be interested in how the asset is actually performing and what improvement they want to make in it. Okay, so and beyond that, these users could also log in to the special portals and get certain reports which could be actually periodically published by the IoT servers. Any questions at this point? Okay, so this entire structure comprising of the things, the internet and the IoT server could be named as an IoT framework or Internet of Things framework. Now, this same representation could be actually called as the world comprising of the digital and the physical. Okay, so this physical thing, the physical world could be actually something which is in this example is shown like a machine. So this machine actually is fitted with the sensors. So this data actually gets communicated. I mean, it gets created over here. It gets communicated, and that goes to the digital world, which is the server side of the Internet of Things. Okay, and there you get the data from similar such assets, maybe globally spread everywhere. Okay, because nowadays means even if you are actually in India, maybe your equipment will be anywhere in the globe. Okay, so that way the data may be flowing from different assets manufactured by you, and they will be the data from one asset, like that any assets across the world anywhere, they will be actually fed, and the data will be sent by one such instance, but it will be aggregated from multiple such actually assets across the globe. Okay, and at that point it is like the data which is totally which is actually available across from multiple assets, that gets analyzed, and from that analysis you get the insights, and these insights could be used for direct actions. And for that there are actually actuators sitting which can actually close the operations, or they could actually fine tune the operation so that there is there is a better efficiency, or selectively you can actually stop the generation at certain plant because there is no need enough at that point, and so on. So that way there is continuous actually interaction between the physical world and the digital representation of it, and the IoT actually is a link between the physical and the digital world. So I think at this point, let us break into a breakout session, and let each team try to find out as many applications of IoT as possible. So Sujata, can we create breakout rooms?
There are 28,
28
leaving aside 4 members, 24. How many rooms would you like to have?
I think we could create, say, 4 rooms.
4 rooms.
Yeah, and then each room will actually brief me about their findings in around 2 to 3 minutes.
All right.
Okay. Basically, you have to list out the applications based on this concept.
Yeah, I'm just opening the rooms.
Sapre, this is for how much time?
This could be for 15 minutes.
Thank you.
Okay.
I have opened the rooms, I think.
Yeah.
Request Mr. Feroz and Mr. Vinod to take the breakout room.
I think everybody is back. How was the experience?
Wonderful.
Okay. Which room wants to start first?
We'll start
Let's
first.
start with room number 1.
Okay, we'll start from room number 4.
Okay, we start. Yes, are you giving me?
I think let me stop by this one.
Yeah, the screen
Okay,
share,
I'll
yes,
repeat.
yes.
Can I share my screen?
Sure.
Very good, very good. Very interesting exercise.
Yes, it looks very interesting because we got so many answers for one question. I think
No.
it's a very easy question paper.
You don't worry about right or wrong. Just give whatever.
Yes, sir. I'm telling the applications.
Yes.
I belong to the Subrazu. I represent the group number 4. Naik ji is there, and other people are there. The various applications are smart city, smartphones, smart homes, where they can connect to fridges, AC units. They can manage the safety of the home. And we have got self-driven cars, example Tesla, and we got the IoT retail shops. And there are a lot of applications in telehealth, like medical health services, surgeries. And we can have even in the traffic management, wastewater management, banking,
Wow.
farming and agriculture. One person gave the idea of poultry feeding and egg collection and total poultry management. And then smart grids for power management. And then wastewater and management, smart parking, safety systems, banking, industrial internet, weather forecasting, IoT for physical and differently able people, supply chain management. These are some of the applications discussed in the group number 4. Thank you very much.
Very good.
Great insight. Yeah, thank you. You have found quite a diverse areas, actually, diverse applications.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Yeah, let's go to room number 3 now.
We are room number 3. We are Bala sir and Akashi, and we have discussed. First, we want to distribute it in home or home applications and office application, workplace application, and society. But because of the circumstances, we have written as a whole. Most of they already said in home the lighting, safety and security, or assets taking. All our internet applications are required. At workplace, all the CLC machines are controlled from remote places. And in society, that all the train, bus, flight tickets are and booking by net applications. And then the Aadhaar card, PAN card, these are also through net applications. And point of sale machine, POS, the machines all are net, using net, smartphone, blood pressure machines, sugar machines, water inogear. Sham sir said water inogear also they use the application.
Yes.
And the barcode scanner. Everywhere you go, barcode is there. This is giving net applications the cash handling, which is in loser, where we are transferring payment through the through machines, Paytm, or all these are. This is give us a very easier payment positions. So what we have discussed, and because of Bala sir is busy with some important call, so we cannot. We have written.
Okay, no problem.
We cannot explain.
No problem. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's also a wonderful list, like the previous room number 4 and 3. Both of you actually done wonderful job. Let's go to room number 2 now.
I'll just share my screen. So applications of IoT, as we discussed, are first thing was it gives weather forecast for airplanes and other flying vehicles, so that they can be told that there is something wrong with the weather and you need to take an alternate route, or you take care of your vehicle or the airplane. Then second point is GPS connections and CCTV camera can help track the vehicles which are moving across the places. I don't think CCTV camera has anything to do with that, but GPS connection surely tell the person sitting in the monitoring room that this vehicle or this machine or this vehicle is moving in this place, and its location can be given. So we have the third point. Kankana, I'm told that fish tanks monitoring can be done. Prevention of wayward incidents such as the oxygen is going on, or the going off, or the temperature of the fish tank is increased. So those kind of issues can be monitored. Fourth point is farming. We have monitoring of the pump, whether it is working or not. So water irrigation of the agricultural land and agriculture can be taken up. And if there is any fault with the pump, because the pump and the field are very far away, and the person has to go all the way there, so sitting in his room, he can find out whether the pump is working or not, and get it corrected. And the fifth point we have is health monitoring is done by monitoring of human beings, patients in a hospital. All the parameters like the blood pressure and all the medical parameters like the other oxygen level and the temperature, everything, the heart monitoring, everything is connected. The medical equipment is connected to the patient in an ICU, and it can be monitored away from the place by the health personnel without having to all the way go there and look at it. So these are the things we discussed in our room. Thank you.
Great. Wonderful insights by your team as well.
Very good, Maheji, very good.
Yes. So that I think the last room remaining is or is it done? No, I'm confused. Room number 1, right?
Room number 1.
Yeah.
So thanks. We were having Anil sir active in our room, and Vishal actively participating. And so we have many similar things, but some different are like the driverless cars which are coming on, sensing the environment around and then driving. So traffic signal management is one of the places where we can use it to monitor the traffic. Remote robotic surgeries are now being performed, which we think that are part of this. Then controlling terrorism activities. Now the military forces are using sensing the terrorist and then attacking them, like it was used for tracking Obama, and we are seeing the different use in Jammu and Kashmir area also. So aerospace management is one of the place where this can be used. Water management system for watering plants in agriculture. Then automated manufacturing plant handling. So manufacturing plant is now handled sitting at one place. So everything is automated and sensors are used for that. Creating smart homes, smart cities are already done. Google goggles are glares. Just a question here that whether this can be a part, because Google goggles sense what we are seeing in future. It's not the present product, but that can be one of the.
Unless it has a camera, then it could actually become or otherwise it is a part of some application like augmented reality. But there has to be sensing somewhere, and without that the actions cannot be taken, I think. It's a technology enabler.
Yeah. Okay. So sensors. That is one part. And asset management is as managing the different assets, depreciation of the equipments or the manufacturing units. In manufacturing units, the depreciation part are of different assets that can be managed. These are some of
Thank you.
them.
Thank you, Suraj. Thank you. Very
Thank
good.
you,
Yeah.
Anil sir and Vishal sir.
I think you have pushed the technology. I mean, wherever it has come to the peak, actually, those points you have also monitored, like this remote, I mean, listed like remote robotic surgery and, terrorism activity and so on. So these are the modern applications, definitely. Thanks. That's a very comprehensive and, diverse kind of things that you have covered. Diverse things, I would say, more than comprehensive. Thanks for that. I think all rooms, you have done it extremely well. Now let's see how these particular application areas could be clubbed together. Give me a second, okay? I'm sharing my screen. Okay. So I'm back on my my favorite tool, which even Sujata ma'am actually wanted me to present with. Okay. So we could begin with like is it? I hope everybody is able to see the see this particular mind map.
Yes, yes, very easy to understand. Yes,
Okay.
very good.
Okay. Good. So I mean, I'm trying to map it on our own life actually, where I mean our life actually begins with our home. Okay. So from that perspective, at the home, yes, I mean there could be many smart equipment like the HVAC or air conditioning systems, elevators, microwaves. Some of them may be outdoor, some may be indoor actually, microwave, refrigerators, and so on. So a lot of things actually you can actually connect, and the beauty is that all of these there are many actually things possible by creating your own actually ecosystem of these particular gadgets. Like think of more scenarios actually emerging when how could your refrigerator actually talk to your access control system, or how could it actually talk with your TV? We don't know. I mean, many actually scenarios they can emerge to make the home actually smart, more and more smart by getting the status and by doing the actuations of a combination of these particular things. So typically people think of the smart home as not just the individual equipment, but as a connectivity between them. And plus nowadays you have got the things like Alexa, okay, which can actually talk with you. So, and you can also interact with it using with these equipment by using Alexa. So it can give you the feedback. It can also receive the actions or the commands from you. Okay, when as a part of the solution. Okay, and essentially means all activities grossly you could actually think of some outcomes which are like comfort, safety, energy optimization for the home. Okay, maybe there are more objectives, but these are a few. Okay, now as we come to the education, okay, here there is also, I mean, this is one area where there is a lot of scope for IoT. During the pandemic, many colleges, engineering colleges especially, they actually used what are called as these virtual labs, which are actually constructed in IITs, various IITs, as well as in College of Engineering, Pune, for example. So in those setups, people can actually remotely do the experiments, and they can actually, with the help of cameras and with the help of sensors, they are able to entirely do the experiment. They can devise different control strategies. They can actually get the reports out of it and so on. So that completely facilitates or gives them an experience of doing the particular room, I mean, doing the particular experiment by physically visiting the lab. Okay, so that could be one of the things. I think another area which was again useful is that I mean, the laptop cameras are actually used, even the audio to some extent, I think, by which you could actually identify that the student is the one who is giving the exam. Okay, there is no cheating. there is nobody helping, the student is not looking at the books and so on, right? So those kind of things. Most importantly, from that, there is a lot of actually black data gets generated. I mean, if you actually find out like how much time a particular student actually required for solving a question and so on, then it is going to give you a lot of insights into the overall questionnaire which is presented to the student. Okay, similarly, the online platforms, okay, which like you could essentially sense from the actions taken by the user as to in a training course, which particular topic people are actually visiting, which are the ones they are actually finding complex, where they are spending more time and so on. Okay, so it's an indirect looking actually applications, but you are actually treating that whole experience as sensing the presence of a student at a given topic. Okay, so that is how it could be. There are also, this I'm talking about the classrooms actually, where these are the e-learning apps. You can actually do the engagement and degree of difficulty. Similarly, online platform like this Zoom kind of a thing, which are specialized for the teachers and so on. Even there, if the cameras are present, one could actually look at the expressions of the students as to who is confused, who is actually enjoying the things and so on. Okay, so from that perspective, the online platforms can also potentially be a source for IoT implementation. Okay, similarly, here on the e-learning platforms, it could be the user's actions, actually what he visits, what not. So those could lead to a lot of data which can be used for improving the course. Okay, as we go more towards our professional life, now here there are n number of domains. I just put a few of those. Actually, many of you have also listed some of these. Like for example, the most important is the industrial IoT, what is called as an IIoT. So there is a related standard called as Industry 4.0, which actually where IoT actually becomes the cornerstone of it. Okay. And here, in fact, there is a notion of condition monitoring. Means by whatever the expert engineers they do to sense the condition of the machine, like they sense the vibration, they sense the voice. I mean the sounds that come out of the machine, the temperature goes high and so on. So those are the things which are actually monitored by sensors and in an automated manner. And that data gets analyzed, and from that we can find out what is the remaining life of the particular asset, means when it will likely fail, and we call that whole area as a condition monitoring. It's a very vast area. Similarly, in the supply chain, actually means in order to coordinate the delivery of the goods required for the particular plants, and how to move their products out from there, how to distribute. So for that, all these things, actually there are QR codes, there are actually barcodes, and then there are sensors by which you can track a lot of things. You can track the movement of the shipments and so on. Okay, so there is another related segment which is actually transport. For example, nowadays we know where a specific bus is, or we can actually know where the Ola cab is going to be. I mean, when it will reach us, where it is, and so on, right? Or even our own family members, we can track their live location and so on. When it comes to the most modern applications, there are electrical vehicles which are talking, I mean, where the battery management is actually really crucial, because this technology has been there for a number of years, but in the recent years, why it has much to, I mean, why the things have actually come to limelight, because recent years, the best use of batteries and economic viability has increased. And there, this IoT has played a lot of role by providing the crucial data about how the batteries, I mean, chemistry works, and how the electrical systems and how the power driving actually happens because of it. Okay, so that's how the electrical vehicles play a lot of big role over there. And similarly, building or office management, actually there's the safety, comfort, everything. Occupancy is actually another area which I mean, in the recent times have even become more important, because nowadays you don't want to allocate one seat per every employee, but maybe you want to just allocate enough so that a few people can actually, only those who want to come to the office can come to the office, so you know how much utilization is there. So you can actually optimize the space for a given office. Okay, similarly, there is a shared space management. So there also this occupancy management and all other things actually come into the play. So there are various applications like, and for actually shared spaces. Similarly, on that note, actually, all of these are giant areas, actually huge areas, but I'm just telling that number of, I mean, wherever there is a profession, for each profession or each actually business system, we could think of applying the this particular IoT. Okay. Most importantly, nowadays the idea is shifting towards what is called as an outcome-driven economy. Okay, so it is like I don't want to actually pay for a car, but I want to actually just hire it, or I want to rent that particular thing, or I want to just pay by the kilometers that I drive and so on. Okay, and another notion is actually means this particular as a service kind of a thing. So just consider this as a means rather than buying something, just hire. I mean, just ask for something and it will be available to you on demand whenever you want. So from all those perspectives, there again, the since you don't own the asset, but you have to make it available and use it very optimally, so that from the service provider's angle, also the importance of IoT is significant.
I think Amazon is also a very good example for this.
Yes, definitely. Okay, definitely. E-commerce is an example of this IoT. Thanks for actually telling that. Now, when it comes to the healthcare, this is again my the area that I work in. So here basically means first of all, you have to remain fit. That is the objective, what is called as a fitness or wellness domain. Okay, so now a few sensors which you could actually use there is basically the fitness tracking and weight scales and so on. And on the other side, when it comes to the medical, means whenever you are not feeling well, suppose in that case, or for actually routine, diabetic patients and all that, for them, there may be actually a need of measuring many parameters and basically make sure that those are actually kept as a record in your central system. And your doctor can actually get insight from that. You also get an insight by trending these particular parameters over the period, how your health is actually means whether it is becoming better or it is going towards some difficult situation, and you want to avoid the doctor's visit really. Okay, so from that perspective, means there are IoT based sensors, because usually previously these sensors were actually these were equipment which were standalone, but nowadays the versions come which are actually over Bluetooth able to connect with our smartphones using smartphone applications. And from there, there are specialized applications which actually keep track of your entire this health management as an individual. Okay, similarly on the doctor's office, the clinics, again there can be applications which by which automatically these particular data can be means placed in the against the particular this patient who visits them. Okay, so that again the history gets updated. Similarly, the lab reports are another area where you can actually keep a track of those rather than actually they becoming just a simple paper. Okay, which can be getting lost. Similarly, on the hospital side, again there is a vast need for IoT implementations, and building management is something which is common to the offices, but here it is more of a survival of the patients. It is even more critical, right? So that is how the healthcare area gets actually spanned in terms of the applications of IoT. Okay. And then this is some area which is for the senior citizens, which is a kind of a unified experience between the healthcare and the living. So basically the people who live independently alone and so on. So they have no caretaker with them, or their caregivers, their family members may be away from them. So for that, there is a possibility of actually deploying more actually creative solutions by which their wellness, health, and safety all are tracked. And the speciality should be that the sensing and these things are, especially sensing, needs to be done in an unobstructive manner. So they shouldn't be actually feeling jailed by actually connecting many sensors to them. So how could the cameras be used, or how could various gadgets could be actually some kind of lockets or some kind of creatively designed products which will actually give them a good experience, and they don't have to struggle with the medical devices. Okay, so certain kiosks are also available by which you can do that thing more conveniently, and the usability actually increases for the senior citizens. Okay, now important aspect is that the big giant business, which is this finance actually. Okay, so that is where I think this is, I tried to put it in the order, but anyways, means of actually evolution, but not always. I mean, sometimes this one is my favorite because it helps, the latest innovation that I see, especially in the Indian market, is that the Paytm's voice device, which gives you an instant feedback that you have done the payment, right? That saves a lot of time for the owners as well as to you. There is mobile banking again, means which is an IoT application. The credit card, debit cards, which you use along the point of sale. Okay, so that is actually your again source of actually, and these are again, means nowadays they are also sensors because they also have a chip inside, right? So they are also in a way an active sensor, means your credit debit cards. Okay, they prove your identity efficiently. Okay, the digital wallets and where your mobile phone actually plays a role of the hardware, and like that it comes to this automated toll collection like fast track, which has implemented worldwide and now in India also. Now again, I mean, can be I'm just giving a thought to that okay, many people they complain that at a certain toll collection area, the locals should be given access. Okay, so for that, what it means actually, okay, like how it is automated, right? So number plates, they play role that, okay, this person, I mean, the number plate based recognition and then give a smooth entry and so on. So those are the areas where you need to do, or maybe in the future, like the actual journey could be actually tracked and somehow there will be active tags which will prove that you are the localite. Okay. So on the same lines, actually, one can go for the virtual money transactions, okay, between devices. So this is one area where you use certain say coffee machine or something, and then automatically you will be recognized as to who you are, and the money will be deducted from your account. Like Amazon also, I think this certain these departmental stores in the US. So they have done it like a Walmart, I think, is that you just pick the items from the different places and just walk out, and your identity will be automatically detected by machine learning and various cameras, and automatically the billing will be done on your account, right? So those are kind of many possibilities. There is a upcoming segment called as a decentralized finance. Again, here, I mean, this area is even new to me, but they are talking about this the financial transactions without actually having any entity like either the Visa or MasterCard or even the banks, but everything that is done by in the sense of this blockchain. But they are talking about replacing even the blockchain with the help of IoT and so on. Okay, so that is called as a decentralized finance application. And most importantly, out of all these areas, there is a huge amount of data that gets generated, and its analytics actually gives you the lot of insights into, like, because everything is revolving around who has done certain purchase, from where, how much value it was paid, and what did it, what was actually purchased and so on. So based on that, I think a lot of data gets generated, and as a result of that, they can do the analytics and insights, and they can use it for further marketing and so on. So that is how even the finance as a domain is actually covered by the IoT actually, okay, ruled by IoT in some way. Now safety has again a lot of parameters, but the things like access control or your physical safety of your anything, means home, or even your own physical safety when you are outside of the home. Okay, so all those actually things, I mean, in terms of the access control, or later on whenever you are outside, it can be that element which I have not listed here. Fire alerts, again, means internet connected fire systems, accident detection, whether you are in a car or wherever you are. So even your mobile sensor may be able to detect an accident because of the acceleration sensor, which is already inbuilt. Okay, so these are and at the extreme, there are actually these distributed actually systems like earthquake and tsunami detection. And at the same time, people have also come up with certain crowd kind of activity, like there can be in the earthquake prone area a small application running in each mobile device, okay, on a voluntary basis. And if all of them actually detect a kind of a tremor when the devices are placed on a table, maybe even that data can be collected and it can actually give you an idea of the some kind of earthquake which may be actually coming up or at a later point in time. Okay, very soon. So all these kind of applications again are the creativities around the Internet of Things. Any questions at this point?
Question we can put in the end. Question.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
No issue. Very flow is going excellently.
Thank you, sir. Okay, I will go back to my presentation now.
Very good. Very good.
So I think we have done that. I was thinking of another breakout room, but I think by now, timing wise, we are not doing great. So let me just, in case people want to actually look at okay, means maybe we'll take only the industrial scenario. And what kind of benefits do you see by deploying a IoT system at large? Anybody wants to say something about it as to what obvious benefits do you see?
Yeah.
So one of the main benefits is you are able to manage a very strict back-end integration of your inventory, which is why Amazon is able to create so much of sales across so many countries, across so many borders. So tremendous back-end integration.
Yes.
And
So many robots.
And
unbelievable.
without having any office.
Correct.
High
Precisely.
level of customization is possible.
Can I
Batch
come?
one, you can have to the last, have specialized features.
Yes.
Highly customizable.
Can I come?
Yes.
Company can focus on KPI.
Correct. Precisely.
Can I come?
Sure.
You see, now when we use earth moving equipments like excavators, poke lanes, and other things, I want to make a huge excavation, say 60 feet down the ground level. Okay, through IoT. So I am so sure it will be so precisely exactly what level I am going to put my concrete or my bed. It will be automatically done by use of IoT, and there would be minimum risk of any error through using this.
Yes, even how much work has been done at a given project, whether it is a road actually being prepared, okay, in what, the laid process is there, okay. So how much of the road roller has it really pressed all the area? So these kind of things with the help of GPS and certain sensors within the road roller, they can be actually used. Similarly, the excavator, where it has really gone, how much work did it do, for how long it took for actually so much depth. How much diesel was consumed correspond to that. All these things they really actually give you the good idea of the work being done. Okay, and everything automatically.
All corrupt people.
Yes.
So they will be under control. Now they cannot do. Now what they do, they will excavate only 50 feet in. They will write 60 feet. Nobody knows.
Correct.
So
Correct.
how much it has been done. So it will minimize the corruption.
Right.
Because the
Very
transparency will be there, 100% transparent.
Very true, very true. So that's why the business transparency is an outcome of IoT.
Yes.
Right. Okay. So let's move on and just have a look at that particular aspect of what at a large.
When there is no cash transaction, so automatically the every transaction will come in the picture. So the income tax authority will catch up.
So we will get better taxes and more development jobs.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes.
Now let us move towards from the point of view of say one plant or one particular business. Okay, from that perspective, everything begins because once you have deployed the IoT, what you get is basically the real life picture and accurate picture because of the because of the data collected from the field. Okay, so that is the first of all, knowing what exactly is happening is the most important thing, and for that there is no manual intervention, so data gets generated. Okay, now what happens is that irrespective of the field, mostly irrespective of the field, I would say, there is a chance for establishing the baseline performance. Okay, whether it is you yourself using a fitness tracker or whether it is a certain production plant, the way you people talked about the KPIs. So those KPIs can be actually deduced very, very nicely using the this IoT kind of a thing. Okay, the more, I mean, once means you know where you are, then afterwards you can think of raising the bar, right? Like in the case of Kaizen, we saw that because of Kaizen, how you become more and more efficient. Similarly, that particular tracking actually happens very precisely, and the bar can be actually raised, and then you start tracking again your assets against the raised bar actually. Okay, what this and everything actually leads to is essentially you start actually reaping the benefits financially also, and because of that there is a return on investment. At certain point you become actually the thing becomes more and more profitable. At the same time your employees get actually motivated because they see the things in action. Okay, and that actually helps them day to day because their efforts get actually optimized, right? So all these things, the financial stability as well as the people actually finding more time, so that could actually lead to more innovation. And more innovation means you could actually think of more automation or actually fine-grained implementation of IoT and fine-grained analysis and so on, which could again go back into more refined actually you can say collection of the data because of more wider implementation of IoT. So essentially, what we mean is that this IoT is something which is not something which you do on the day one, but you actually keep on means enhancing the scope by implementing it at a certain level, and then keep actually refining it with the ROI definitely seen out of your project, your IoT project. Okay. Now, a little bit tinge on the technology, that what is actually helping this particular innovation. Okay, so one of the areas where this IoT is actually helping is that with the advent of the computing technology, the wireless actually things, because they have actually increased because of I mean, there are certain things like near field technology, like for example the smart card tapping kind of a card, right? So that is what uses actually what is called as a near field technology. So that one is a wireless connection between a passive tag and I mean the passive hardware within your smart card and the the point of sale or that card reader just a few centimeters away, and there you very securely just tap it and actually get the data out from as to who you are actually, which is the card number, for example. Okay, then distance wise actually you go on the x-axis. Okay, so that you go to the next thing, next level, like you shift from the tap to the room. So here you have got like the Bluetooth low energy, these kind of Zigbee and whatnot. So they are actually specialty communication layers which actually help you to build your what are called as a personal area networks as well as the industrial networks. Okay, for the plants. So home and everywhere actually you can actually use this particular thing. Okay, so then there are more specialty technology. I mean, there is also this Wi-Fi, which actually is a high speed. This y-axis is a speed axis because from there are certain low speed requirements, there are certain high speed requirements. Okay, so wherever continuous data like a camera image detection has to be there, video recording is to be done. For that there is a Wi-Fi needed. Okay, otherwise this Bluetooth is a low energy kind of a systems actually which are here. Now from there you go to the almost actually you go to the campus boundaries and actually in the medium ranges actually where like a 1 kilometer kind of a range. So there are actually even more actually technologies which are like there is a direction. I mean there is a directed Wi-Fi which can be actually placed between say different buildings which are far away, or if there are different plants in the same city, then you can actually do more communication between them, but it is a private communication between the entities. Otherwise you can use the internet also. Okay, from Wi-Fi you go to the internet providers services which are wired services also. Okay, beyond that, when it comes to the 10 kilometers or so, then you have got two choices. One is that the service which is actually from the cellular technology, right from starting 2G, 3G, 4G, and now upcoming 5G. And then there is a low-cost system, what is called as a LoRa technology, what is called as a long-range LoRa technology. And around that, there are more technologies which are actually coming up. All these are from the same side, that they are extremely low data rate, very brisk, small amount of data. Like many, across the villages, people have put like a specialty LED lamps. And those just give the one reading, or they just tell you like for how much time the lamp was actually used. So those kind of information from thousands of equipment, but very small chunk of information can be smoothly sent by extremely low power hardware, very tiny hardware called as a LoRa hardware. Okay, whereas these ones, they need actually large hardware and specialty gateways and mobile phones and so on. So that is for the high speed communication. Okay, this is low speed and low power means kind of a system. Okay, beyond that, there is a satellite communication. There are satellite phones. There are satellite systems called as this very small aperture technology, what is called as a VSAT and so on. So there you go across 100 kilometers. Okay, so this is the technology which actually spans the development of IoT. Okay. There is another thing which is this cloud-based frameworks like this AWS and Google and so on. So what they actually do is that they put in place the system which you can customize. Like Poojaji was talking about customization. So they give you the framework, okay, but you just configure it in an appropriate manner. There is substantial amount of programming, but a lot of the standard blocks are available. You just connect those blocks and actually pay for those blocks. So that is how typically means in any system, as the data actually enters the system, there are actually two things which are actually done. So which is like thinking fast. This thing which is actually the hot path means immediately look for actually a level change, whether it has exceeded certain threshold. You want to warn somebody immediately. So that is the hot path, means immediately look for threshold, look for a small pattern, and give a instant feedback to the operator. And otherwise, there are long-term actually, data storages as well as long-term report generation, long-term insights, deeper insights, and big data analytics and all that, what is called as a cold path. So using these things, you actually fulfill the needs of the engineers and operators on site, as well as you fulfill the needs of the top management, the higher management, and so on in terms of the reports. Okay, also the needs of certain R&D people for long-term actually usage of the data. Okay, now one of the technologies which actually people use is what is called as a machine learning. So for that, this is just one example case. Let me just talk about it a little bit. Like this is that aerospace, or actually this is more of your aeroplane engine. So this engine actually what is called as a turbojet engine. So this one has various sections, and you know the temperatures and pressures at various places. And this is actually, and also the RPM, how many rotations, the speed, and so on. So this actually, because of this, these complex sensors actually which are fitted in the this particular thing, that creates this huge amount of data. You will see that there are actually what is done over here is that the data from individual, say something like 150 trips of that particular plane actually. So they have been actually recorded over here, and you will see that there is a lot of diversity. Okay, because there are many operating conditions they emerge. But this kind of a data is almost actually difficult for any human to interpret, and from that actually tell that whether what is the remaining life of this particular sensor, this particular aircraft. Okay, means how many, without servicing, how many trips it can safely make. So that is the problem to be solved. And these kind of problems are actually solved by what are called as the deep learning neural networks, and if those names you have actually heard. Okay, so that is where all this data actually, some training data actually goes inside artificial intelligence, which Akash actually had mentioned in his presentation. So that is how it actually leads to these particular analysis. Okay, in the sense of means how this actually helps to churn the data out from the IoT systems, and that leads to the real benefits. Okay, so I have got a demo also, but we will skip it right now. That how this particular model actually runs in real life. Okay, now we come to the situation that how one could implement this particular IoT. Okay, so for that there is one just a simple use case actually which we are presently implementing. So these are for the EVs, the electrical vehicles, actually two-wheelers basically. So what actually has been done, just to give you the idea of it, that there is this particular battery management unit. So this is actually within one battery cell there are some different number of cells actually, like 6 or 12 and so on. So those individual cells, the data is getting continuously actually monitored by using this particular hardware, what is called as a battery management system hardware. Okay, and then we have this IoT gateway, what is called as a telematics. They call it telematics, but this is a IoT gateway. So this has got a SIM card in it. So this data actually gets serially passed, periodically passed to this particular thing. And then it gets continuously updated to the cloud-based server. Okay, the backend, what we talked about that. And here the data churning happens. Because of that, a lot of actually insight gets in. For example, your users, actually the mobile app users, okay, who are actually using these these vehicles, they will come to know by when their what is the next time they should charge. And this is actually a swapping application where there will be swapping stations placed. So they will also be alerted that, okay, now your battery is only 20%, and here is the swapping station nearest where you should go, and a charged battery is already available for you. So they can just exchange their battery over there. Okay, and for the administrators, again, means these individual users, especially the Swiggy people and all those people actually, which are more of a fleet management. So from that, their perspective, how individual drivers are actually using this vehicle, whether in a rash manner, whether in a overload manner, etc. So all that kind of a data through the slow churning path, actually, we can come to know about. So that is how this system actually is beneficial for the end users as well as for the administrators or as a of this particular system. Okay, so now comes to, like, for any other business that you may be actually thinking as a business owner. So there, how do we actually go about implementing IoT? Is that the first step is basically we need to find out one issue which is a critical issue for us. Okay, and then around that we should do the proof of concept, because here you don't need to actually do a lot of investment, but a few thousand rupees also many times is sufficient. Okay, so you actually implement a very small solution only on a few assets of yours, and from that you actually understand the cost benefits as to what kind of results you will be able to do, what kind of data churning you can do, whether you can really succeed with those algorithms or not. Okay, and what kind of alert messages you can give. Because of that, what will happen? So you will test that particular thing by implementing it, and from there you are going to go into the into your strategy as to, for the larger, the entire plant, or for if you are an equipment manufacturer, then for all your equipment that you will be producing, what will you actually what kind of sensors will you fit, what kind of technology can be actually useful, whether you have to go for a Bluetooth implementation and smartphone of the service people or the operators, or whether you want to go for 2G 3G system and so on. Okay, so like that you design your entire strategy. Also the cloud side actually as to how much resources will be required, what will be the monthly cost. All those issues will be actually decided as a part of the strategy. And from that strategy comes your means real implementation. Again, this you can do in a phased manner by deploying it for first 100 pieces, 1000 pieces, and so on, or actually part of your plant and the entire plant, etc. Okay, so this whole thing actually is again like a business cycle. So you go for the next critical issue. Once you have selected the first issue, its implementation, you can go for the next one. So like that, you can actually keep going and keep benefiting from the implementation of IoT. Okay. So in general, I mean, here I just remember one story, which I was in Belgaum with my close friend who was from the defense forces. So I was actually appreciating this kind of an ambience which you will see in any camp area, is that everything is smooth, neatly painted. Then some cars will come, they will salute and so on, right? So what he said is that, you know, why we have such a beautiful campus, that is because of our universal rule. So I said, what is the rule? So he says that if anything moves, then you should salute. Okay, a car comes, some sahib comes, you salute. Otherwise, you just paint it. Now, from IoT side, again, there is a very simple mantra for all of us, that if something moves, means if our asset moves, we will fit a GPS tracker and at least track its location. Okay, and along with that, we'll add some more sensors and actually try to see the efficiency, the breakdown causes, and so on. And if not, then that is a case of a static asset where we will put a IoT gateway and try to monitor certain critical issues important for us. So I think here I stop, and I'm happy for returning the stage to Sujata ma'am, and we can take some question answers if time permits.
Thank you, Rajendra. That the topic itself is very dynamic and your presentation has been very high octane. And I think there's quite a bit of absorbance of technology through your presentation. My only worry is, will your IoT recognize what's on my mind right now? Anyway, I would divulge saying that I wonder how Rajendra prepares such mind maps, you know, really puzzling everybody's mind. That's what is on my mind. Excellent presentation. And before we give the floor to the questionnaire, I would like to hand it over as it's our religious practice to have Arun sir give his cognitive observation and then his implicit teaching feed forward and the feedback, everything about the reptilian brain feedback that we await from him, because it's a learning for everyone. So I request Arun sir to please take over. Thank you.
It was fantastic. Thank you, Sujata ma'am. It was fantastic, Rajendra ji, as was expected.
Thank you,
you know, it was very clear, and we got a real understanding about what Internet of Things is all about and how it can be used in, you know, our workplace, at our home, at our office, at the factory. And it promises to be a very big thing in the days to come.
Yes.
Internet of Things, you know, as we were discussing, one of the things which I felt very, you know, interesting was the possibility that, you know, if Internet of Things were to be used extensively, then senior management will get a lot of time to, you know, spend their valuable intellectual activity towards innovation and improvement, corporate governance and other things. Indeed. Today, a lot of that time is being taken away on activities which possibly could be handed over to Internet of Things. That's what I felt. That was my sincere opinion, because, you know, in the year 2022, in the first 2 months itself, there have been lots of changes which have happened.
Yes.
You know, in the world of medicine, they have found out how to create artificial organs so that, you know, organ donation will not be a problem anymore. Inventions have come on how to fight antibiotic resistance, and a lot of other things are happening. These 2 months have been a very big thing. And the most surprising thing is 90% of the scientists the world over are present now of the total amount of scientists who the world knows about.
Yes.
So you see, Internet of Things can really take the load of senior management and middle level management and help them to concentrate more on corporate governance, innovation, and bringing about new things. That's what I got a feeling as I was listening.
Yes.
I don't know how right it is.
It is, in fact, that is very true. And that's why the story which I narrated in the beginning, I mean, irrespective of your stature in the corporate hierarchy, the IoT plays a role of actually, helping you seamlessly without your intervention. It saves your time everywhere.
And you were very clear in your statements. What I liked the most was the articulation, the way, smooth way, without any hesitancy. You are talking about Internet of Things. It clearly showed the subject matter expertise that you hold. We look forward to some really good presentations from you in the future also.
Sure, sir.
Thank you, Sapre ji. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you, Arun sir. And Rajendra, are we open to questions for another 5 minutes? If you could unshare the screen, maybe the audience view would be wider.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you so much. Dear audience members, the floor is open for questions.
So Rajendra, Sapre.
Yes, please.
So Sujata ji.
Yes, sir.
So another Sujata ji, Balaji, my close friend, you can say. Can you count camera?
No, I'm there actually.
Oh, hello, ma'am. Hello, glad to meet you.
We share the same name actually. I'm also Sujata Bala.
Oh wow, the 7 wonders of the world.
Yeah, right. Same like people 7 people are common in the world.
That's why I said 7 wonders.
Yeah, right. Yeah, we are this next door neighbor.
All right.
Very close to each other, and nice to see you all.
Very pleasant, ma'am, meeting you. Do join us for the sessions.
Sorry?
Very pleased to meet you. Do join us for the sessions, I said.
Yeah, sure. I actually am a little tied up with my work and all that. So that's why I'm not very active in all this forum, but sure, sometime.
We hope you get some time to join us.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you so much.
Okay, nice meeting you. Thank you.
God.
Thank you.
Sir, what is the meaning of KPI? KPI?
The key performance indicator.
Achha.
Okay,
thank you.
Yeah. So see, just a simple case, maybe one simple example purely from the IoT perspective we can take is that suppose if there is a cement plant, okay, then one of the things could be it is a very energy efficient, energy consuming kind of a thing. So per ton of cement, how much energy was consumed by the plant? Okay, that could be one of your key performance indicators.
One is, sir, KPA also, key performance area.
Yes, that is KPA, and within the KPA there is key performance indicators. Correct.
Sir, you don't give some emphasis on the performance appraisal to apply IoT. Performance appraisal.
Correct. Now, the thing is that if you, how the two could be related is that if your, the way you perform, okay, means especially this is the goals that you have and how you actually met those goals or actually at an individual level, okay, mostly for the operational level actually means for example the people, the workers in the plant actually, so for them they from their own perspective, okay, how they actually run the given machine on an assembly line. So for that there are actually IoT systems which are monitoring that, okay, when this particular person is at that particular machine, how well the production was. Okay, that is one example where automatically your performance actually gets monitored and
evaluated.
and you also get compared, you also get promoted and so on actually. So that's how this actually your performance at any level, and similarly for the service engineers, the way they service the things, the kind of inputs that they gave, okay, all these things, they will be directly directly recorded as a part of the IoT system. So towards the in an ideal way, means if the appropriate data management is there, you will get your performance appraisal, the performance report more as an output from the IoT system.
Okay,
rather
sir.
than you
Thank
filling
you.
it up.
Thank you. Great.
Thank you.
Great.
Rajendra ji, one question.
Yes, sure.
Rajendra ji, regarding VSAT, na? In VSAT, how do we connect this IoT to VSAT?
See, VSAT is more of a it is actually called as a very small aperture terminal, okay, which is a internet connectivity using satellite. Okay. So that in the locally means that at least previously when I had actually used this kind of a system, they used to give a wired output at one end, so that you send, you actually connect over the LAN kind of a thing, or even before that there was serial communication. So using that, actually you connected to your internet service provider, and from there like you actually connect your mobile phone using Wi-Fi, you essentially use your gadgets connected to the internet. Okay, only thing is that in the most remote areas where there are no other service providers, there is no range for the mobile phones and so on. So that is where the VSATs actually come up. Or we were talking about that earthquake measurement at the remote places, or there are certain dams which are actually much away from the system. So at those particular places, the VSAT can actually play a very central role.
Just one further extended question to this, because normally when there are some connectivity to be done with the rigs and to the land.
You are talking about the oil rigs?
Yeah, rigs and the land. So at that time, normally they also require connectivity, right? So when we use the satellite, the antennas and all for through VSAT. So in that case, now into modern technology, IoT will make it more easy to get connected, or it will be on the same old platform, some extension to the old platform, or it is an independent platform.
See, essentially, the IoT is a what you can say. The IoT is more of a the implementation is actually one part of it. Okay. More importantly, means the way previously the people were actually doing the business. Okay. Like since the topic has come up, I'm just extending it, like how and what of the IoT actually. So previously also there were actually systems, they were mostly they were actually more of a what we used to call it as a geographical SCADAs. Okay, there was a specific term called as a supervisory control and data acquisition. So what is called as a geographical SCADA. Okay, but they didn't have the ability to do the cross comparisons. They didn't have the ability to do the machine learning. Not so much sophisticated, you can say decision making like that. Okay, so with more actually hardware, more this kind of more actually different sensors and more machine learning, you can actually do much more sophistication, and that is what we call as more of an IoT than actually the previous geographical SCADAs and so on.
Okay, so thank you so much. Thank you.
Rajendra, Ms. Pooja has a doubt she has posted in the chat box.
Oh, let me see it.
Yes. If you could address that.
Definitely. Okay, where do you see the barrier to adopt the IoT? Now, this particular barrier is more of a there could be two angles to it. Over the period, actually, let me tell you like my own experience a little bit. So basically, what was previously this IoT was only called as a remote monitoring. Okay, so I was fortunate enough to even work with the first company, okay, across the globe who had a patent in IoT. Okay, there was a company called as Notifact. So back in actually something like 2005 framework, we were actually associated with them for a short time. Okay, so there what happened is that everything was available, but people used to risk that, okay, no, I mean, they used to say that our data will not leave our premises. Okay, so one of the actually hurdles is that people thinking that once the data goes to the cloud or goes somewhere out of my premises, I'm going to be at loss, because what happens if if the data is actually stolen by somebody and so on. But with the invent of this the social networking and so on, nowadays what people used to think of private things, everything people want to publish these days. Okay, so that has in general actually brought more actually of a change of mindset. So people are happy about using it on cloud rather than on premise. Means nowadays it is more of a sin to keep your data on your premises than actually to keep it secure, safe in the clouds. So that hurdle is no more there. But today people actually don't know means how much it will cost for them to do even their initial trials, whether it is an expensive thing or what. Okay, so for these kind of things, actually that the thing that I want to demystify is that you could do your IoT experiments without actually having lakhs of rupees of investment. Means if you can do it under a few thousand rupees, okay, and you can actually test for yourself as to how it is actually beneficial to you. So that is one of the things. And the third thing will be more of, what is even more important is that how do you think about the problem? Okay, means what kind of innovation do you want to think? How do you want to be creative? So actually making people or your staff members more creative about actually looking at their day-to-day problem, voicing it out, and giving them that particular training actually as to how they will implement this IoT and how broad IoT is. So that is what I think the training aspect which we cover in our own solution. Means I wear, that's why, two hats. One is a solution hat, one is a trainer's hat. So in the training, actually we try to give them the insight of irrespective of the size and shape of the organization, as to how Industry 4.0, how IoT is actually something which is beneficial to all, and it is not something which is always expensive. Okay, for giants, actually large companies like these Tata Steel, Tata Motors, okay, who are exemplary. So for them it's a different scale, and that's what actually costs heavy money. But even those companies recover those monies in like something like a year or so. That's what some of the published reports talk about. Okay, but even for the small scale industries, medium scale industries, the IoT is still applicable, but how it is applicable, that is what we need to be open about and look at a solution. I hope my answer was comprehensive. Somehow I took more time, but it is a subject close to my heart.
It's reflecting thoroughly. It's close to your heart. As Arun sir has mentioned, transitioning is very smooth and beautifully articulated. Definitely. I think Anil sir has a query.
If there is time, then I have one question.
Sure,
or maybe a quick and short query, so
okay.
We can complete.
My question is just very similar. When I am using a boarding pass going to my hotel, say I'm traveling from Delhi to Goa, the hotel man knows. So my customer now, it has reached the airport, it is coming here, and optimally he can utilize his resources. There is no wastage of food and other things. And on the other side, the risk is, I am exposed. Maybe some data security, if it is leaked out, so my life could be in danger, because everything is visible now. All my travel, it is visible outside. Of course.
Yes.
So you have protection, your own data security is there. But if it is leaked, so one example, then I am in a danger. So yes.
True, very true.
What is your take on this?
Yeah. So there are actually two sides to this particular problem. Number one is that whenever there is a mass adoption of IoT in business systems or in these kind of systems, either that particular service, if it is actually misusing your data, or so that it will be harmful to you in some way or the other. Okay, so that is where the security systems are in place, so that data usually doesn't go in the hands of somebody per se. And whenever there are actually leakages happening, actually those leakages actually happen at such a large scale that it directly affects lakhs of people. Okay, now out of actually these lakhs of people, why somebody will come to an insignificant person like you and I at this moment than actually some VIP? That is the question I asked to myself, and that's why I believe that it is still very safe to use certain IoT systems which are at mass scale actually. Means they are actually to be designed well. I mean, okay, like for example, we know that there are certain Chinese apps and so on, which are actually suspicious. So you don't know where the data goes and so on. So there, I mean, from those kind of systems, you shouldn't be actually implementing the IoT. But wherever it is a big company actually who is giving you certain IoT service, that is where one can actually remain sufficiently rest assured.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Rajendra. I think almost all queries are done. But the earlier living conditions and life was being on cloud 9, which was excitement, happiness. But now it's taking an augmented reality, being with the cloud. I think that's the technology transformation. And I think the world is evolving. Maybe it's a necessity that's being invented. Thank you so much for the wonderful presentation. And dear members, tomorrow we have another interesting and a very impressive topic being presented to us by Mr. Atul, and the impact speaker, Mr. Shyam, will be addressing us from Ireland. So all the more, let us be ready for the presentation tomorrow evening. With this, we call it a day. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Sujata ji, and thank you, Arun ji, for all the guidance.
Very well done, Rajendra.
Thank you.
Very well.
Thank you, Anil sir.
Okay.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Sapre ji. Thank you.
Good night. Good night.
Thank you. Good night.
Very good
Thank you, all of you.
Good one, Rajendra ji. Good one.
Sapre ji,
Bye.
Sapre ji,
Yes, please.
really wonderful.
Thank you. Thank
The
you.
way you took it, the way you.
Yeah, your words actually mean a lot to me. Thank you so much for the appreciation.
Thank you. Good night.
Bye. Good night, everyone.
Good night, everyone.
How much we can buy a smile per Mr. Sapre ji?
Sorry?
How much it costs to buy a smile?
Oh, it is contagious, so it is free from that point of view.
So God bless you with tons of
Thank
such
you.
things that you're thinking. And you will go miles, a lot more to come to you. God bless. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
बहुत है.
Who's that? It's Nagi. Thank you, Sujata ma. Thank you.
Thank you, Nagi sir. God bless.
Good enough. Yes.
Bala, I haven't heard from you today. Busy?
Sujata Balaji.
Yes, sir.
I'm just sitting
Many
on the
times
back.
whatever I send to you, it goes to her.
Okay.
My communication, she's also in WhatsApp group.
glad to have met her, sir, today. So, so thankful.
So because once your father also, no, I just braved her that time also. But she said, no problem. I understand.
What has happened today is I and